And if you're ever in that South Country town where the windbags come howling or computer lines, remember me to 100 who toil there. They once were illusions of mine. And well, if you're there when elections storm, when donations freeze and senators bend, see if the bankers are unbuttoning their bums, and see if the reps are still bleeping their friends. Please see for me if they're still hanging the poor, if they're torturing the young, if they're mocking the weak, calumniating them like they done before, and condemning them before they can speak. And I'm wondering now if they think of me at all. For it's many a time I remember our hopes, how they lied and they murdered the best of us, and they treat us all like bootless ghosts. So if you're ever in that South militia town where the neocons now howl over CNN, remember me to a few who work there. They once were an illusion of mine.
Play Herbert Hoover, right?
Maybe we could start that long march through
When
the
was
president.
the Great Depression in this country?
It started in 29 on Funny Friday, I think they called it.
Right. And things were pretty bad. And right in the middle of it, 1931, Herbert Hoover said,
"Prosperity is just around the corner."
He kept saying that all the time.
Didn't he warn that grass would grow in the streets? So he was right, I guess.
Oh, bye.
I guess he thought the cup was half full, you know.
Calvin Coolidge had a conversation that was reported by Ethel Barrymore. And he said,
I think the American public wants a solemn ass as president, and I think I'll go along with them.
He was describing himself, I guess, right?
Oh, yeah. He's also the one who said, when many people are out of work, unemployment results.
What a thinker. That was, then that guy, today that guy is dead. Right, okay, and this, it was from a memorandum on very elegant White House stationery with the raised seal, you know, and the presidential schmata on it, you know, and it was from
G. Harding, President of the United States. To White House staff, subject toothpicks. Please see that these are placed on all tables. Signed, WGH, Warren G. Harding.
Can't leave a detail unnoticed, you know?
No, he was real micromanager.
Yeah, picky.
Well, it sounds like he's a guy that really knew what was important in those days. The world must be safe for democracy.
Made safe.
Made safe.
Thomas Woodrow Wilson, speech to Congress asking for a declaration of war, April 2nd, 1917.
You know what?
And I want to be the safe cracker.
Do you know that his slogans for becoming elected was actually, he kept us out of war.
Right.
When they say Mr. President, I always look around and expect to see Roosevelt. William Howard Taft.
Yeah, he was a big jolly guy.
Right, but he was right in the tradition of Teddy.
Well, Teddy handpicked him.
Who said, "Charge!" and went riding up San Juan Hill.
And he also said, we have a description of what he said. And that wonderful, he also called it a jolly little war. No.
The journal's little war. Anyway,
according to a reporter on Roosevelt led his men down a little descent at the other side of Kettle Hill. And that's up in the Borscht Belt, Kettle, like Duder. Still waving his saber and shouting encouragingly at them. Just as they approached the edge of a little pond, something, either a bullet or a piece of shell, struck him on the back of the hand and made a slight wound. That moment, Roosevelt was the happiest man in Cuba. He was mighty glad of the wound, and incidentally, probably, glad that it was no worse. He waved his hand proudly in the air so that the men who were near enough to him could see the blood and shouted, "I've got it, boys! I've got it!" That was Cuba, 1898.
Mr. McKinnley, who later got it also, made this speech at El Paso in 1901.
"We shall never make war except for peace."
That was the origin of the Kill for Peace slogan, actually.
The Firesign Theater make a little reference to it, too. Anyway, Grover Cleveland, was the city named after him, or did he own it?
No, he was a New Yorker, actually, a governor of New York. And what's interesting about this statement is that he was 24 and 22. He was the only president who missed a term and then was reelected. And in the first campaign, there was a song written called "Ma, Ma, Where's Your Pa?"
Right.
And the answer was in the White House.
Ha, ha, ha.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
And he was accused. You know, I have the feeling that presidential candidates who are accused of so-called sexual escapades always gain a lot of more votes than they lose. And he was elected.
Well, he was one of a group of men who might have been the father of a particular child.
Yeah, well, that's true.
And
they say.
But he very bravely stood up and said, "It was me."
No, I don't think he had admitted it.
He said, "Pay her off and send her out the back door."
Well, he did support the child for a long time. And then the woman was, this is as much as I know.
Mariah was her name.
Yeah, he knows all about these sex scandals. He reads the Inquirer. And she was later, the child was taken away from her. I don't know why. I guess just sleeping with... You know what a nymphomaniac is, don't you? A woman who sleeps with more men than you want her to. So she was I have it. Is it 1 o'clock yet? No. I have a wonderful... No, we'll do that some other time. So,
after he was elected,
I have the feeling that she was... that's why she was considered an unfit mother, because she actually had sex with someone. And then this is the guy who, after being was accused of being a womanizer, said this after he had left the president. He wrote in the Ladies' Home Journal,
"Sensible and responsible women do not want to vote. The relative positions to be assumed by man and woman in the working out of our civilization were assigned long ago by a higher intelligence than ours."
And you know which position the woman was was to assume.
I'm afraid.
But evidently that was a popular attitude because his supporters, after he won the election, sang, "Hurrah for Mariah, hurrah for the kid. We voted for Grover, and we're damn glad we did." Torchlight procession.
You should look through these and find some you'd like to sing. And here's some more.
Oh, it's music.
Oh, the music. My God, you've been working on this. This is quite an opus.
I have some, well, these are too cruel, but anyway.
The Presidents of the United States are a rock group, you know. It has a
Really?
couple of hits. One cat song.
You're kidding.
No.
You like them? Do you have any of their...
I don't know whether I have it with me, but I've had it. I've played it.
Yeah?
Heard some guy playing it in the supermarket once, and I said, "Oh, Presidents of the United States." He said, "Yeah, this is the bleeped out version."
Benny Harrison.
Let's see. When President Benjamin Harrison, during the Panic of 1893, oh, that one, I remember, saw a man forced
This
by...
guy was Tippecanoe, right?
No, that was his
Tyler.
grandfather.
Oh, but also a Harrison.
Yeah. William, well, I'll tell you about him. We'll get to him.
Yeah, this is his, like, a relative who didn't die of pneumonia. When Harrison, during the Panic of 1893, saw a man forced by the Depression to eat grass on the White House lawn, he had, well, now they're smoking, he had only one suggestion for him, that he'd go around to the back where the grass was longer.
Bob, you should read the next two, I think, and get into the mood.